Hi everybody, this is Rebecca Hare. I'm going to be a new teacher teaching at Excelsior Classes next semester I guess, and I wanted to hop on here and say hi and also participate in Excelsithon. Now obviously I am not actually here, this is a recorded video, and that's because scheduling is hard. I wanted to make sure everybody would be able to see this, even if you weren't able to stay through the entire live stream. Shout out to all those people who have gone through the whole live stream. You guys are awesome, and I'm so excited to see what you guys have been seeing. But I wanted to share with you what we're going to be doing here. So, I am an illustrator, which is basically I take ideas that people have and I draw them out on paper using pencils, colored pencils, markers, pens, paint, even digital stuff. I do all sorts of crazy stuff, and I have a class that's going to be talking about that. But I thought it'd be fun if I was able to share that with you guys in some way. So a while ago I asked for some pictures of pets. And I don't know if they told you what those pictures are for, but we're going to be making some superheroes. Now, me personally, I love superheroes. I like comic books, all sorts of crazy stuff. I like giving people different superpowers, coming up with different stories for them. That's just the best, in my opinion. So, I also like pets. And I figured that would be a fun way to stick the two together. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be taking a picture of somebody's pet that they sent in. And I'm going to be turning that pet into a superhero. I'm going to be using the camera on my desk so you guys can see my hands and my fingers as I'm working. And we're going to be just drawing a superhero. And you'll see the process it takes for me to pick my medium, come up with a concept, and then illustrate it. So, have fun! Alright, so this is my workspace here. I'm looking through my pictures to try to figure out what I want to do. And there are some pretty silly ones here. I found one that I thought was kind of interesting. I'm definitely more of a cat person than a dog person, but I'm going to try to be fair. So this is a picture of a cat either named Winnie or from somebody named Winnie. So if you are Winnie or this is your cat, you know who this is. This is a stripy, dark colored cat with some very big eyes. And I love big-eyed cats. We have a cat at my house that we call Beanie Boo Eyes because she has the big old big-eyed stare. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the cat's head. I'm not going to make it completely round. I'm going to kind of make it a rounded oval shape. And if I was drawing a person, I would do something like this, where I split the paper up into quadrants and draw the eyes. This is an animal, so I'm going to be much looser on the guidelines here. Gonna give it big old eyes. Cats have very wide noses, so gonna put the nose in there. And big dark eyes. It also kind of looks like she's got the little eyeshadow look on her. And some nice stripies around the eyes, which can turn into eyebrows very easily. This is a fluffy cat, so instead of giving it a round head, I'm just going to lightly shade the edges here. Now, I got two different options here. I can either make this a superhero cat or a supervillain cat. Since cats are usually a bit more villainous, she would definitely fit into that situation. However, let's just see what she looks like with a little bit of mask under her eyes. If we look at the actual picture, it looks like this cat already has some masking. So Let me just finish this up. Oh my goodness. One trick you can do is make the mask shape go into where the eyebrows would be, and then the shape of the mask can kind of do the work of eyebrows. You know how eyebrows kind of tell you how you feel because they show how your face is contorting? Just by shaving off pieces of the mask and shaping it, you can make somebody's expressions change. I do that a lot in my book, Take That Hurricane, with the main character who has her mask on most of the time, but depending on how I shape the mask, you can see how she is feeling. Okay, so I kind of like her as a supervillain. However, it kind of takes away her natural eyeshadow look. So I'm not going to do it in black. Black is a bit too dark. Instead, I'm going to go with red. Red's a very dramatic color. It's also my go-to for superheroes. And I guess supervillains. There we go. So now it's a cat with a superhero mask. But does that really make it a superhero? What kind of a superhero would it be? Well, I think this would be the kind that's cloaked in darkness, in the shadows. So, I'm going to give the cat a hat. It's going to be a cat in an old-timey hat with one ear sticking out. The other ear is, of course, supporting the hat. And then perhaps a very debonair cape that flutters in the wind. Now, granted, this could be a supervillain, or this could be just a very mysterious superhero, such as Batman or the Phantom. I think that the Gray Ghost, if you get that reference. So I'm going to have her hanging from a helicopter. So here's the stepladder, and she's like, "You will see me again." Let's see, who would she be talking to if she said, "You'd see me again"? Would it be her sidekick, accomplice, a villain who's gotten the upper hand and is forced to retreat? And she's like, "I will return." You know what? Let's just complete the look. Give her a full-on trench coat. Alright. So now I'm gonna give her her red cloak. Gonna give her a red hat too, just for brand identity. This will be the Red Claw. Maybe she's a cat burglar, or maybe she's a vigilante who does works of heroism in the shadows. But no one would ever know that is secretly the mild-mannered, big-eyed, cute cat that sits in the shadows. I'm going to use my pencil colors. I'm going to break those open. As you can see, whoops, they are well loved. But I'm going to pull out some sympathetic colors here. Just going to start with some yellow, because if I go straight black and straight brown, you're not really going to be able to see it. They'll blend in together. So I'm going to put in some lighter colors instead to start out with, so that I can just kind of go darker off of that. But I don't want to start out super duper dark, or else, again, you won't be able to see it as well. So let's start putting in some stripes. With comics and comic styled things, you don't actually go for accuracy, you go for simplicity and style. So you don't want to have, say, if you look at this cat picture with Winnie, Winnie has a lot of fine details. Lots and lots of little tiny details. If I put in those little tiny details, one, it's a lot of work, and two, it'll call attention away from the things that I want to have attention on, which are the cool superhero aspect. So I'm going to kind of simplify down the details into a few small places. Some thick black outlines will make a difference. Resetting our dark values to absolute black and making everything else look a little lighter in comparison. Oops. Though if you use a pencil or a crayon like what I'm using here, do realize that they can easily break, so you're going to need to be careful with them. This kind of reminds me of that board game, I think it was, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Very much this cat would fit in splendidly there. What color should I make the trench coat? Should I make it blue? Should I make it black? Yeah, let's make it like a bluish blackish color. That'd really stand out against the red cape. Oops. I forgot to put in some of these little rungs. Alright. So for this one, I decided I was going to make it blue and black. So that means I'm going to use blue as my base color. And go over it with black details like I did before. By the way, there is a stronger tool than a colored pencil or a crayon, and that is a pen. I like Faber-Castell artist pens. Check this out. Woo! Look how strong that is. All of comic books work with thick black inking. They have for generations. It's one of their tells. And so having thick black inking can really set apart your artwork and show that you're going for a specific aesthetic. See how it's really changed the drawing even this much? Now watch what happens if I put in some black in the background. Normally I use brush ink for that, but I don't want to mess that up. So I'm gonna and see the difference that happens when I try to do colored pencil instead. One, my paper curls because I haven't properly tacked it. But just look at the difference between the black ink and the black pencil. There's really no comparison to the ink. It is the king of blacks, the king of the dark values. Or would it be a queen? You'd have to let me know about that. Alright. This kind of gives me gangster vibes, you know? I've probably mentioned that before. But it's like an old school noir feel to it. I'm going to use the difference in these blacks to make little building shapes in the background. So it kind of looks like she's on an urban cityscape. You could try if you wanted to put some white details with a white colored pencil. they're not going to show up too well, but honestly that might be a good thing. If they were too bright, they would call attention away from the foreground. Put a little bit of yellow on this rope ladder. Alright, everybody. What do you think about Winnie? I think she's looking pretty fly. Though, again, I could be wrong about name, gender, any of these things with the cat. It's really hard to know unless you know the person. But there we go. And now I'm just gonna write the name on the hat. Alright. So that's one down. Now, we got another piece of paper. So we got another pet. I'm gonna pick this one up, set it to the side, and move everything over because this camera doesn't pick up very well unless it's directly under it. So I'm just going to set my guidelines here. And if you're wondering what the black lines are for, there's not really any specific reason they're here. They're just to kind of give you, the camera, a better idea of where the boundary is. Oh, you're right. It's crooked. There we go. That's better. I don't want crooked paper. Alright, now I need a new pet to pick. So let's see. Oh, there's another character named Winnie. Oh my goodness. I have found the perfect one. So, to offset the dark brooding vigilante type, we are going to have the adorable, happy-go-lucky, perhaps a sidekick, perhaps a rookie hero. I don't know yet. But this is going to be Erica's dog. There is no name given. So, this is a very floppy dog with a very floppy tail and very, very thin legs. So, I'm going to start off with the head. This one I'm going to make a lot smaller so I can show more of the pose. I'm going to have one arm up like it's flying, and then the other arm kind of back like this. And yes, I am calling a dog's limbs arms, because I'm thinking of it like an anthropomorphic creature, so where an arm would be if it had arms. Gonna give it some back legs. This is going to be the pose. Now this fellow, or lady, I don't know, has very big ears, a big nose, and a very, very, very long tongue. Now, see what I can do just the versatility of having circles for eyes. Just by putting lines around them, I can kind of delineate where they're pointed. I could have them pointed like this, so she's looking off to this side. I'm sorry, everything's going to be a girl to me. It's on a blue leash. Might be a boy dog. Could have curves going that way, so the eyes are looking that way. I could have lines under the eyes, like this. Makes it look kind of sad, honestly. I could also do things with lines on top of the eyes. Very much make it look sad. Back to what I was talking about, eyebrows and how we classify eyebrows. However, since this is how the eyes are kind of shown in the picture, I'm going to show it like that. I kind of like the white spot I have in the other eye, so I'm going to do that here too. Now, I'm not going to draw all of them with clothes, but I think this one would do well with a little t-shirt. So I'm going to draw a little t-shirt, and then of course a long flowy cape, maybe a E hanging from the collar, or maybe an E here. What do you think? Should I give it gloves? Okay, that's cute. I'll go with gloves. Also little shoes. Oh yeah, and a tail. Can't believe I almost forgot the most important part. This is going to go off of the Winnie the Pooh rules. I'm not going to give it pants. I could. I'm just not going to. Okay, so now we got a sketch down. Oops. So now, this time, I'm going to use pens instead of pencils because I can. Ha ha ha. So we're going to see what the difference is. So, gonna start off with the eyes. With pens, you get a lot more control over what you draw and where you put that color. Also, oftentimes when I'm working with pens, I end up seeing a line in my head that I like better than the pencil lines that are actually on the page. The pencil lines to me are like a guideline. They're a sketch, but they're not permanent. They're not immutable. I like the idea that this dog is just straight up a normal dog wearing one of those dog outfits that sort of fit but sort of don't. I don't know if you've ever seen a dog, like an animal wearing clothes, because humans make the clothes, so they make the clothes to look like human clothes, but dogs have a totally different joint structure from humans. So the joints don't really look right, and the clothes don't really fit the way they would on a human, because they're not on a human, they're on a dog or a cat, I suppose. But it's very much just a dog in an outfit. The other one was much more anthropomorphized, like it was holding onto a rope ladder and all that jazz, but this one is just straight up a dog in a costume. I like the idea that the cape it's wearing is attached to the dog collar. I can't really tell in the picture where the pattern ends on the head, so I'm just going to go with that. Alright. I'm going to make one side of the dog a little darker than the other. This will make things a little bit more dramatic. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I already kind of did that in my basic inks, but this way will create higher contrast on this side. You can see I also added some little creases in the fabric. In our course we're going to talk about shading, we're going to talk about how to execute different illustrations, how to come up with the original ideas and how to work from other people's ideas. All sorts of fun stuff. I don't know if we have any dogs in them yet. We can definitely change that, because dog superheroes are a very, I would say, rewarding area of study. Gonna go over it and erase out some of the pencil marks I don't need. Gonna get that blue from the other one and make the buildings blue this time. Problem with this particular pencil is it scratches up the paper, as you can probably see. But I like how dark it is, so I keep using it anyway. What a fool I was, should I never love you, fool. Okay. Now we got some background to it. I debated what color to do for this one. This is a very cute doggy. So I'm going to use a little bit of a reddish brown color and then also some red in the fur patches. I'm also going to use red for the E and red for the collar and probably the gloves. Yeah, that just looks right. However, because red and blue, I don't want to use yellow because that'll make things too primary. So I'm going to use red's complement on the color wheel, green. If I want to make the green a little softer, I can start with some yellow first and then put in a little bit of green. So that way it'll tone it down a little bit. And if I want to make the green really dark, I can put in some blue underneath. Like I can go in and then coloring over it. Like this. Alright. So now let's show off the final results. They're kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. Alright. The final thing you need to do with any type of work, regardless of whether you like it or not, sign it. There we go. So, we're going to have some more. Oh, I almost forgot something very important. Perfect. Alright, so we're going to have a couple of more of these here and there. But for now, if this is the last time you hear from me, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And check out my course on Excelsior Classes. There's going to be one in the fall and two in the spring, actually, where we're going to be doing crazy stuff like this, and also some things of your own. So I'll see you then.